I sat on my arse all morning, literally all morning, just watching YouTube videos, and then I was like, I'm gonna go out on the bike, and it starts raining. Oh, welcome back everyone, welcome back to the beautiful English weather. Hope you're all doing okay. Today, well, first of all, I don't know if you can notice any difference. I received a lovely early birthday present, which is hopefully going to make my life a little bit easier on the old bike. It also means I can do this. Hi! It's because she was on her phone, that's why she's going so slow. So, I don't know whether you can notice on here, but this is the GoPro Hero 9. The one that I'm used to recording on is the Hero 8. The main difference being this one's got the media mod on it, which means the microphone, I don't know if you'll be able to see, the microphone's plugged directly into the back of it rather than having to get that external zoom recorder I had and sync that all up and clap and all that sort of crap. And it also means that when I want to turn my GoPro on, I don't need to pull over, turn the audio recorder on, put the lead back up into my helmet and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully this should be decent enough. The other thing that's quite nice about this is I've got the max lens mod on. Now that is this massive dome glass thing on the front. It should horizon level and keep that. If I do that, that's me turning my head. So hopefully it will keep it all level, which should be nice. I don't know whether it'll make much difference. So what I thought I would talk about today is primarily down to the fact that we're all about to book as many tours as we can and get out as much as physically possible. I know I've got one planned in the well, it's in the coming weeks now, which is really exciting. Don't worry, I'll bring you along. Take one of them. That's what's great about bikes. Toodaloo! I know I did a video the other week about how to prep your bike to get back on the road. As I said, a lot of us are going to be planning to get back on the bike and do a lengthy journey. That is something that comes with quite a lot of pain, because normally in the UK, depending where you are, normally in the UK you have to do a substantial amount of riding to get to where you want to go. So for example, my ride that I've got planned in a couple of weeks is going to take me 5, 6, 7 hours to get there, depending on traffic. Well, it won't depend on traffic, but depending on how many times I stop and all that sort of stuff. So there's a few things you can do just to make your life a bit more comfortable. Hopefully eke out the miles and make those extra miles. Now, being on a bike anyway, we stop. I mean we have to stop for fuel. Unless you've got a super tourer like a Goldwing or something like that. Yeah, jealous Missenden Flyer. You're not going to do this stupid amount of miles, but there are a few small things you can do just to make your life a little bit more comfortable and hopefully eke out those miles. So first of all, something I'm a massive advocate of is earplugs. I wear earplugs all the time. I know there's a camp for pro earplugs and I know there's a camp for against earplugs, but every single person that I've said, trust me, just try them out for a week, have done it and then they cannot go back. I've got some custom fit guards, so they're obviously molded to my ears, which makes them really easy, and they're obviously multi-use as well, so I don't have to worry about throwaway earplugs and stuff. All they do is they dull the noise of like the wind buffeting and stuff. Although a lot of people go, oh yeah, but you can't hear my exhaust as well and all that sort of stuff. I actually would counter that and say I can hear better because I'm not getting the wind buffeting over my ears. You know, when you go down the beach, you go for a walk on the beach and it's really windy and you haven't got a hat on or a hood on, after about 20 minutes, half an hour, you are tired, you are aching, and you just want to get inside. You've got a bit of a headache coming on, you just don't feel great. It's got to the point now where I will wear my earplugs on the beach because it just means I can enjoy the walk more. I'll put in if I haven't already, I'll put in a little section in the bottom corner here of my earplugs, the custom fit guard ones. I genuinely highly recommend them. I'm not sponsored by them. So many people get the moulds done at shows like MCN and whatnot. They're doing a UK tour at the moment, which I know has been put on hold by COVID. They take a mould of your ears and then like 2 weeks later you get them through the door and they're perfectly moulded to go in your ears. Seriously, they are fantastic. Genuinely recommend them. If you don't get those, just get normal foam earplugs and they work relatively well, but they're just throwaway ones. But that takes away a lot of the buffeting, all the crap, and you can still hear really well. The second thing, so again, on the sort of ride comfort and like the fatigue side of things, sore ass is like one of those big things. Fortunately, my seat's quite comfortable. When we've gone to Scotland and places like that before, my mate on his Phaser and the other one on the MT-07, their seats are a lot thinner and a lot more, well, taxing on the rear end after a few hours. You can buy an Air Hawk or the various different versions of them, which are it's essentially like sitting on expensive bubble wrap. What we ended up doing, so we bought a thick pad of lamb's wool. I know there are some touring channels that have a huge lamb's wool cover on the seat, and it's great. It's like a white lamb's wool, but the problem with that is as soon as it gets dirty it just looks horrendous. So we got the black stuff, we cut it all down to the size of our seat, put a bit of elastic around the bottom of it, so you just sew in some elastic and then you essentially put it over, so you've got your seat and you wrap it, it goes on top and then the elastic goes underneath your seat. Not a suitable diversion route. I'm going to try it anyway. Should we do a jump? Another one. Oh, this looks like Brooker's favourite road on his Rosso Corsas. Yeah, we got these lamb's wool covers, and essentially all they do, they soften the seat a little bit. They also allow for airflow underneath your le derriere. So that helps. You can get like an airflow mesh thing that goes on seats as well. I've never tried them, I don't know how good they are. The lamb's wool thing was about 12 quid, I think it was, plus delivery. They went up in price when someone did a review of one online, but that's always the case. But you can get them anywhere, and they work pretty well for what they are. The next one, I actually forgot to bring it. I was going to bring it out with me to a bit of a demonstration, but completely forgot. It's a form of cruise control. It is essentially a throttle lock. You get loads of different types of them. You can pay 150 quid for them, you can pay 20 quid for them. They all basically do the same thing, but it locks around your throttle and you turn it on, you tighten it up, and then all you do, so if I kind of keep my eye on the road a bit, but you lock your throttle, push the bar down, and it just holds your throttle open for you. You get the other types, which are like screw-on bar ends that sort of tighten up, and that holds the throttle as well. They're pretty easy. You literally just do that. If you want to slow down, you literally just roll your throttle forward and it takes it off for you. I know a lot of you will have cruise control on bikes, which is great, but so many bikes don't have it, especially the old ones, especially like this doesn't have cruise control. So it's not ideal, I'll be honest with you, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than sitting there with that wrist cramp for hours on end. Next protocol, I think, I mean, there's things like general heated grips and stuff like that, which most of you will know anyway, but one of the other things that is quite good is wind protection. Now, a lot of your bikes won't have it. A lot of you will say you don't need it. The screen on the Tracer as standard wasn't that great. It was okay, but I found a lot of it was just hitting the bottom of my helmet. This is a aftermarket Puge screen with the additional attachment. You can get the MRA Vario screens and stuff like that that are pretty good. If you're going to do a big tour and your wind protection is not great, for the sake of 90 odd quid, that helps massively. Something that's very much worth it, and I stand by it a lot as well. Yes, it's a very expensive one, however, it's worth it. Again, this is something that people will swear by once they've done it, and that is getting decent touring gear, or decent, if it's not touring gear, waterproof gear. This is what I love about motorbikes. See you later, bye everyone. Alright, toodaloo. Thanks guys, thanks for waiting for me. Oh look, TVR, very nice. Oh, expect that to be broken down by the end of the road. Yes, touring gear, it's very expensive, I'm very aware. This Halverson's gear is pretty decent, it's not bad. This is laminated, so it has been pretty good, but I think I've had a few issues with it, like I split the crutch and things like that. Just the membrane, that is. I split that by getting on the bike too aggressively, apparently. I bought it from Bike Stop and they've been fantastic. Every time I've had a problem, they've just replaced them. It's so good. I know you can obviously get the Rucker stuff, and people like Teapot swear by that. I know Richie Vida uses, I think it's Risha, which is also Goretex, and he swears by it. And it's one of those things, like, once you've bought it, you will not regret it. When we were up in Scotland and it was absolutely caning it down, me and my old man had waterproof gear on, and we were, although we were miserable because it was wet, we were still a hell of a lot happier. George and Brooker, who weren't in, well, George's gear was apparently waterproof, but turned out not to be. They were just miserable, like really miserable. That smart car sped up when he saw me on the road. What a dick. One thing I will recommend, I can't remember the name of it, I'll be honest, but there are like the oversuits you get. A lot of them look like bin bags. Emma has an Oxford one which was about 25 quid or 30 quid, so it's so cheap, and that made a big difference. It's one of those things that you have to carry and then you have to pull over and put it on when you think it's going to rain, and then when you're not wearing it you've got to find somewhere to store it. So if you can do it, there's loads of places do 0% finance nowadays. You pay like 50 quid a month and get some really top-notch gear that you're never going to, well, you're not going to replace for years. My next point is fitting your bike to you. Let me get past this guy. I can't remember who it was that I was watching. I think it was Dave Moss. Dave Moss is a motorcycle tuner. His channel's about tuning motorcycle suspension for track days and comfort and stuff like that. He's really worth watching. I think you have to pay for the full videos and stuff, but the previews are actually quite good to watch. So I was watching one of his videos and this guy was getting his bike tuned, and he was sitting on the bike like this. It wasn't that obvious, but he was just sitting a bit like this, and I sort of sat there going, Emma does that every time I've been on the bike, like riding with her or seen her pull off the driveway and ride down the road. She sits like that, and I've been saying to her for so long, probably months now, you look really stiff and like all tense on the bike. And she's just like, no, I'm not, I'm fine. I watched this Dave Moss video of the guy that did exactly the same thing, and he said, your handlebars are too far away from you. All he did was undo the top bolts, rotated the handlebars a couple of mil towards him, and immediately the guy went from that to that, and that's it. And it's such a small thing. Before Emma went to work yesterday, we adjusted her handlebars, literally just tilted them forward a bit, and she got home and said it was night and day difference. She said the comfort difference was phenomenal, and she said she was more confident in the corners, she felt like she could lean the bike over, all these different things just from literally tilting her handlebars forward a tiny amount. Stuff like that, stuff like setting up your clutch and brake levers to where your reach is. Say your bike is too high for you and it's got a lower seat setting, stick it in that. If it makes you comfortable, that will make more of a difference on your long ride than anything, and in your daily riding as well, not just on your long rides. So that's well worth doing. This last point I think that's worth saying about, it doesn't cost you a penny realistically, but it is to get yourself bike fit again. Now what I mean by that is, I don't mean you have to be physically fit or anything like that. I just mean just get out and ride your bike. And if it means doing if you know you're going to be doing a 6-hour journey up to wherever, do a couple of day rides where you spend 2 or 3 hours in the saddle, then have a stop, and it'll get your body used to being on the bike, and it just means your body is slightly more able to cope with that position and the sitting in the same seat for hours on end. If you don't ride, or you've only done 15-minute journeys and stuff, sitting on your bike for 6 hours is gonna absolutely kill you, regardless of how many I was gonna say marital aids, that's not right regardless of how many bike comfort aids you've got, or regardless of whether you've got a Goldwing or whether you've got a Super Tourer. It is not going to be comfortable if you only do 15-minute rides. So there we go, a few small tips just to prep yourself for a slightly longer ride. Again, I know some of them cost money and some of them don't, but it's well worth doing if you're going to do it, just to make your life a little less uncomfortable. I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you're uncomfortable, cold or wet on the bike, you cannot enjoy the experience anywhere near as much as you normally would. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.